get trapped at the airport. My flight keeps getting delayed till 3 o'clock in the morning, then it gets canceled with all this TSA stuff. But as I'm there, the older woman walks up to me and shakes my hand. She goes, "Yo, I love what you do online, but I think you're wasting your time." Now, I politely disagree. We have a long conversation, but I did want to ask y'all just a couple questions so I can know whether or not I am or am not wasting my time. Let's say your house is dirty and you need a cleaning crew to clean your house. So you start calling around to all these cleaning crews to find the right one for you. You find the one that you want and you tell them, "Hey, listen, there's some things I need cleaned in my house, but specifically I want this stain in the bathroom gone. I want the floors clean and I want my closet reorganized." They say, "No problem, we can get that done 100%. We'll head right over." They head over. They start cleaning. But as they're cleaning, you see them dusting the fans and washing the dishes. Now, you're not mad at that because obviously those things need to be cleaned too. But you make sure and reiterate, "Hey, listen, don't forget I need that stain in the bathroom gone. I need my floors clean and in my closet reorganized." They say, "No problem, don't worry. We'll get that done." Now, time is up. You pay them, they leave, and you go to check if they clean what you asked them to clean. And they didn't. Stains still in the bathroom, floors unclean in that closet. It's not organized. But your fans are dusted and your dishes are clean. So you call them and go, "Hey, listen, I needed some specific things done," and they ain't get done. They say, "I'm sorry. We just ran out of time." My question to you is, do you hire this cleaning crew again? If your answer is no, welcome. If your answer is yes, why? Is it because you felt like there were setbacks? Because they actually ran out of time, so you want to just give them a second chance? Okay. So we hire this cleaning crew again. We tell them, "Hey, listen, specifically, I need these stains in the bathroom gone. I need the floors clean. I need this closet reorganized." They say, "No problem, we can get that done 100%. We'll head right over." They head over, and you reiterate to them, "I need this stuff done first, though." They say, "Okay, no problem. We'll get it done." Now they start cleaning, and you see them dusting the fans again. And you see them washing the dishes again. So you interrupt them and say, "Hey, listen, we need to stain in the bathroom gone. We need the floors clean. We need the closets reorganized." And they look at you and say, "Hey, don't worry. We'll get it done this time." My question to you is, do you believe them this time? If your answer is no, welcome. If your answer is yes, then maybe the lady at the airport is right. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful day. You know I love you and I'll see you tomorrow. But if I don't, stay out of trouble.
Ladies and gentlemen, a welcome in and a welcome back to the podcast family. Us here, a different view family who believe in, who love after, who defend, who hunger and thirst, search and seek to find that which is a different view. Family, welcome in. Here we are, April 6th, right? The start of a new Star Wars show, starring Darth Maul. You can find it on Disney Plus. It's also Easter Monday. It's also Employee Benefits Day. Shout out the employee one time. Brothers and sisters, I don't know about you, but we thank God for the employee just the same as we do the employer over here, right? We got May and June on the books. We thank God for the mother the same way we do the father over here on this podcast, right? Family, matter of fact, we give a huge shout out to the youth one time because without them, there is no mother or father. On this podcast, family, we mean to break down the barriers and the walls that have been created by massa in an attempt to keep people bound. Okay. And if this is about the time that you shut off in your mind, just understand that this is where it's at. So we're going to take it step by step this morning here, just to have some continuity in the game, right? Just to allow people to understand what's going on. We want to talk about some of the stuff that we don't talk about, right, on this podcast, and then continue in talking on some of the things we do. Number one, we have not talked much about the Iran war, because at the end of the day, as mass are doing mass a mess, no different than our dear black brothers and sisters who act foolish, or mostly brothers, going up in gas stations and holding up people and shooting folks, killing them, etc. Right? That's clownish activity. That's cowardice activity. So there's really nothing to talk about. This is no different than the term Sheol in Jewish culture. While unfortunately, they have a response to God's words that they call the Talmud, okay? Where it's okay to have slaves. We just putting it on the books, family. We're not even, as a matter of fact, we want to play it for y'all, because sometimes your boy do a lot of talking, and we had spoken on this last time. We were speaking, right? Talking about the words rant and ramble, because many times in these podcasts when people get going, I should say, this is about the time where folks like to find little buckets. It's a term they use to put certain things in, right? At the end of the day, family, listen, this rant means it basically means babbling. Okay. Loud babbling. Nobody's loud babbling over here, family. We're impassionately speaking about the wrongs that happen in society. Ramble. Nobody is bombastically talking, just again, foolish buffoonery. That's not what's happening over here, okay? We're talking about legitimately how the establishment, the institution, right? Institutions like churches who use the name of God. Let's say it right, family. Hey, hey, hey. Touch your neighbor one time and tell him that the church, yeah. Say the church been used by massa to create a society to keep you bound. Yeah. Just keep it known in your mind. They're using holy laws, family, to keep you in a status, whichever word they want to use, of captivity. But since yesterday was Easter, right? Sunday morning, Resurrection Sunday, right? Hey, I am come. Family, where the truth tellers at? That you may have life and have it more abundantly. Listen to what, again, Rabbi mean teacher. So listen to what this teacher is telling folks about the script, okay, the scriptures. Check this out.
The tooth or the eye of the Eved out, he goes free. So one way of generalizing it is, it's telling the master, you better not physically abuse your Eved or you might lose him. I mean, you can actually look at it as the Torah protecting the bodily integrity of the Eved by saying that if you abuse your Eved ad kedei kach, that he loses an organ or loses an aver, you will lose the Eved, legamri. Okay? So those are kind of the two approaches. Approach number one is the Torah tolerates but never encourages. Approach number two is this was a mechanism to civilize the immoral, evil behaviors of the Ovdei Avodah Zarah, and like. By the way, in the American Civil War, or before the American Civil War, when you had the abolitionist movement in the United States, which was the people that were urging slaves to be free. So there was an argument among rabbis. There were rabbis who gave sermons. One rabbi gave a whole sermon that slavery is perfectly fine because, the Torah.
Family, we just want to preference while you listen to this. It'll be a few minutes. This is, we're not gonna go nuts. It's gonna be a few minutes, okay? Because this information has got to get out there, right? This is a video that you can find on YouTube still. Again, OHR. Let's just write it down, right? It's going to be hard for me to say it. OHR SOMAYACH. Slavery is and my apologies to our Jewish brothers and sisters. We don't mean harm, but there's just certain words I am unlearned in how to say. So SHIDDUCHIM, I'm guessing Shidduchim, slavery and politicians. This is what Rabbi Yitzchak Breitwitz. This is YITZCHAKBREITOWITZ. Again, we had talked about this last time we had dove into it. Again, there is no argument when it comes to the slavery thing, family. You don't have to own nobody for folks to be able to be good to people, repay each other the wrongs we do, the things we steal from each other, right? We don't have to own nobody. Okay? That wherever this came from, I don't care what justification. We're talking about the way the maker made it. People can sit here and do this. Well, Yahweh said this, that, and the other. Family, again, over here on this podcast, we have no problem telling people then you're looking at two different gods. The one who made this, created this, designed and fashioned this, died for humanity, right? Because again, we understand people don't, God's not killing God, so on and so forth. God lives forever. We understand, okay? But again, this idea, concept, story, again, for me personally, as a person who believes in Christianity, this reality, okay, where sacrifice is necessary, which is something that you can see in families, you can see it in life. We have to be sacrificial. We have to be more sacrificial. But I digress. At the end of the day, family, okay, that God and this one that's okay with slavery, two different ones, okay? And not for nothing, since we believe in something that's coming from the East, you have the Jews themselves letting you know that the name they gave to this deity has multiple, not only genders, but multiple functions, deities. Like almost like a pantheon when you say Elohim. Look. You take it up between you and the maker. We're just saying the truth of what we have found here. Many times in a lot of these podcast, family, there are pieces to the puzzle. So a lot of things I'll say, maybe some things you'll get, some things you won't, right? You take it, you piece it together with other stuff, and we keep it moving. The time we waste in arguing, fighting, and backfighting, infighting, all this mess is silly. It's how mass is taken over. Again, we do not discredit the wars that have happened between native tribes on these lands when Massa was here. But before Massa came here, we understand. The family, at the end of the day, it's time to band together. Again, each people group, no matter all over the planet. You can talk about the people groups in Australia. You can talk people groups in Asia. You can talk about the people groups in the Polynesian islands. You can talk about the people groups in California, as you just had the Yurok people get some of their land back that belonged to them way before the European came calling. A congratulations and a small step, but a necessary one in the right direction. Again, the Yurok tribe, I believe YURUK, if I'm not mistaken, right? And again, we've been on the books. That is something that is on the books, telling that there are dark tribes, many of them unrecognized, dark-skinned tribes, family, native to this land. We don't play around in the space of Indian and all that kind of stuff, and we'll be talking indigenous native folks. Again, get away from Massa's language. It's set there on purpose to confuse. They operate in confusion. They follow the god of confusion. Okay, this is what it is. Let's continue.
Allow slavery, so who are you to speak out against it? Other rabbis said, the Torah wants liberty, the Torah wants freedom. Interestingly enough, the rabbi that gave the slavery speech happened to be an Orthodox rabbi. There weren't that many Orthodox rabbis in America. And the one that's called for freedom was a Reform rabbi. Okay, interesting issue. I'm a little embarrassed about that. But still, as I say, if you simply look at the Pshuto Shel Mikra, slavery seems to be endorsed, so you have to give terutzim. Now, one other final...
I feel the need to say this, so we're just going to say it outright. This is not a disrespect to the Jewish culture, okay? In every point in history, it doesn't matter, African, again, all of them, right? Latin, it doesn't matter which ones. There's times to look at what the elders and ancestors have passed down, okay? Including what we got from God. You're told to taste and see. You're told to study for yourself. You look at these things, brothers and sisters, and you find out which ones match. Listen, we're down here for freedom purpose. If they got you down here for anything else, then you already know it's pseudo. Huh? You already know it's pseudo. If you got to go across the world and capturing people to make money for family, this is why we say they're lazy. We could bring out a document of something we just saw. Again, I like, to the content creators out there, two things that your brother is seeing. Number one, provide the documents. See, a lot of times when we talk on this podcast, we want to remove the defenses in the mind. So when you argue, you're not going to be arguing against me. You're going to be arguing against the information we're showing you. Okay. That's number one. Bring the pages, bring the documents, show people where they are. Number two, have the date on things, especially when you do TikTok postings, things of that nature. Put the date on there. Because a lot of times we're seeing content that's coming from years before, certain things that can have a contextual disagreement. Again, remove it. Put it in a tagline, do whatever you got to do. Sometimes when I put my post on there, I'll actually put the date of things because I want people to know when this mess is occurring. I want you to be able to find it as a reference if you see it on my page. We're not playing around anymore, family. This is serious business. This nation, including the White House, been made by dark, again, they use the word black, but dark skin. Because again, there's tribes of people that we don't know who were dark skinned. They weren't black, and they just put that word black on top of everything. Okay, and many times a distinction, especially speaking over here, as I've heard it said on a different podcast, the United Snakes. Again, this is Massa's territory. This is, how they say Oklahoma's Indian territory. This is Massa's territory. Which we disagree with. We love this land, family. Come on now. Somebody talk to me. See, this is the same kind of thing over in England, though. Whenever you would have people, and don't you know this is what they got? They got the lock, stock, and barrel for you. They got the guillotine for you. They got the noose for you. They got the long walk off a short pier for you, family. When you stand against the wrong, that's what they got for you. Renee Good, that's what they got for you, right? That other brother Alex, that's what they look. This is what they got for you. You know what's cool watching Daredevil? Shout out Daredevil season 2 one time. If we could just pause here in this video just to talk about this, man. Everything in the first 3 episodes is all about Massa's impropriety through the form of Vincent D'Onofrio acting as an iconic villain in Marvel Comics, the Kingpin. Family, you got nothing but they running gang activity out here, which is why I do not understand why black brothers and sisters want to get involved in something. They gonna throw your ass in the slammer. They have no problem doing it. They set it up and designed it that way to put you there, and you gonna operate in the thing they designed and put you in? Someone's not thinking, family, right? That's just the waiting noise to see if people think, to see if people are thinking, right? I use that sometimes when I'm looking up stuff. We're just trying to see if people think. And many times what it comes to is this. Family, look, the laws, whether it's jaywalking, whatever it is, I don't care what it is. I don't care for the spin story they like to put on it to just make it look like, hey, it just so happened it's like this. No, this is done by design. Potato farmers. We're hearing a lot about black farmers being pushed out of a space. That ain't nothing new. See, again, this is why we don't talk about a lot of this stuff, because again, it's the same thing repeated. There's nothing new under the sun. That's what your Bible says. Everything in Daredevil 2 deals with the impropriety. It deals with them, whether it's, again, if anybody's seen season 1, if you haven't, I encourage folks to see it. This is good TV, let me tell you, okay? And this is the group. Who is the group who's going to stand against, family? This is not preaching look. They made a task force in the TV show, family, as a result of trying to keep those who stand against wrong from handling their business, family. Throw them in jail. Persecute them. Not like Robert Morris, who is, this is on the books. This is, listen. We ain't playing no games. You went to jail, brother, for a certain thing, or sir, I should say, right, for you molesting the youth. You should have served your time, and what happened is that massa got involved. But that only makes sense. And you got out in 6 months, bro. 6 months. Family, the justice system is just for them. Not for the people who are hurting. No. No, not for those people. And then you stand in the pulpit. Again, while yesterday was definitely one of the most segregated days in America, one group that don't want the other group worshiping with them, stop the hoax. Okay, we can play in that space as much as we want to. One group does not want the other group with them. That's historically on the books, and it stays that way. Do you know why? Because right about the time they get together, that mess keeps coming back up, which is why they stay apart, which is what you should do. But again, the reason you can have people say, and again, I believe it to be a thing, the most segregated day that happens in the United States. Oh, I meant one of them, right? I mean, it's at the top. It's got to be in the top 10, right? Is going to church, family. And each one of the dark brown and tan skin tone groups, the Asians have to have their own. The Korean churches, Chinese churches, come on now, right? All Christians. We know about the black churches. That's historic on the books. Latin churches. This is what it is. Because there's a group clearly here looking at the script. It's okay to have slaves. You're supposed to be in the slave mode. Not ownership, the slave mode. Let's continue.
Something I want to mention a little bit, and that is the discussion so far had nothing to do with blacks or not blacks, right? Just slavery in general. The question is there something significant about blacks being slaves? There are those. Now, this.
Again, brothers and sisters, we want to keep this because he's doing a little dance. He's got to dance. We understand, right? You're not gonna get up there and blast your own thing unless you're being honest, okay? Or if you want to say it that way, it's blasting. Again, it's time to be honest. Brothers and sisters, dark skin tone folks lived back then at the time of the Bible the same way they do today. Don't see when you fall for that it's easier to fall for the rest of this. Dark skin tone folks. If Paul was talking to the Greeks back in Acts saying this, all people groups, what you think all peoples mean? Just all the white folks?
This is a big controversial hot button issue because it all goes back to Noach, right? Noach cursed his son Ham, and he said to Ham that you will be a slave to your brothers. Because
again, when you look in Genesis, we've gone over this on the podcast before, just reading the story. When you look in Genesis, this was not God cursed nobody. So whatever the Mormons talking about, don't know what y'all talking about. Okay. Some split off Christian section, whatever. There's way too many. Okay. All right. There's way too many, man. At the end of the day. Okay. And people gonna make defense back and forth about that. It's fine. At the end, it's your business. At the end of the day, Noah, a man, we ain't doing this touch not thine anointed. A man cursed his own kids for being disrespectful and abusive to him. Okay? Be careful how far you go with this, talking about the beautiful skin tone. You look at your dark-skinned brothers and sisters. Look at your brown, look at your look at them. I know we don't, right? You look at them enough to put them in the plantation, aka the job. What we're saying, though, is look at them. That is a beautiful tone given by the maker. In reality, as far as I go further with it, again, all peoples is all peoples. Even if you wanted to put the pale and the light skin tones as the second creation, even if you want to go that route, these are made peoples. We're made people, family, right? The last I checked in the Bible, beautifully and wonderfully made. Differences in physiology, differences in hairstyles, all this kinds of stuff. Yeah, beautifully and wonderfully made. Let's continue.
Revealed Noach's nakedness. Now, there are some, in fact, this was the rabbi who gave his speech against the abolitionists. There are some that interpret that as a curse of blackness, and God decreed that blacks would be slaves. Now, I want to point out, again, I feel embarrassed to say this, I want to point out right away that that is not the mainstream view of Chazal, because the truth of the matter is, the black descendant of Noach was not Cham, it was Cush. Cush was Cham's son. Cham himself, Lavdafka, was black, and it doesn't say that blackness is necessarily a reason for cursing. So many learn that was a distortion. The people who use that medrash to justify racial slavery are incorrect. And generally speaking, we wouldn't follow that view. But as I say, Eved Kanani doesn't depend on race. Eved Kanani depends on Jewish versus not Jewish. And those would be the two defenses that we...
Again, what he's talking about, slave, this is the Semite way of saying slavery. Slavery is not based on your skin tone. It's based on, right, or nationally where you come from. Because again, people come from a place. Italians come from Italy, right? Jewish people come from the East, right, which is closer to Africa. I digress. Germans coming from Germany, so on and so forth. Asian people are coming from China, Cambodia, Thailand, right, Japan, Vietnam, Korea, right? Our Samoan brothers and sisters, again, just had a chance to rewatch Yokozuna's documentary on A&E on WWE Superstars, man. Very horrible, right? Very horrible way that Rodney Anowai lost his life. Given to food. Brothers and sisters, listen, the man put this mess here. When you hear your Muslim brothers and sisters talking about pig, they're not lying. This is no different in our black community when we deal with it. And again, we're not telling anybody what to do. We're saying there is a way to live. There's a way to eat. There is a way to be for anybody at any point of your life, regardless of how much you weigh, how tall you are, how smart you are, okay? Or how high your IQ level is, I should say. Because everybody has a level of smarts. Again, you get around the one who discredits and sits in the seat of the scornful, all of these things start going sideways. We ain't got time for that no more. You watch this TV show, Bridgerton family, how heartbreaking that the invader would bring such crap over to the West. We had enough problems here in the West. Interracially, interculturally, between the tribes, between the people groups. We had enough. We didn't need no status elite, gossip-filled, sick way that they look at the men, that they look at the kids, that they look at the women. Two I just mentioned are on the slave class, still to this day. Women and kids are on that slave class. Men who stand up for right against this remade society, because it truly is remade over what was already here. Y'all are we're part of the slave class too. You get the ass whoopings, you get the regulation, and the yes men get all the stuff. Family, this is how this works. This is why when you start hearing them talking about hard working, find your passions. This is real. You know, we're just talking about just finance and stuff like that. Find your passion. Do the thing you want to do. Because they're doing the thing they want to do. Do the thing in life you want to do. Artistry, it doesn't matter. Sports, anything. And artistry is a big term, okay? Because this includes music. This would include speaking. Speaking is an art form. You look at the word rhetoric, coming from rhetor. It's just dealing with how you speak. The art of speaking, okay? So we don't get down on people who speak. Again, life and death. This is coming from the script now. Or the scripture, right? Life and death is in the power or the ability of the tongue, aka to speak. And we've been speaking way too much death over each other. This is why don't get on your brothers and sisters that talk about positive affirmations. What's wrong with folk? Speak life over you. Speak life over your children. Yes, yes. Speak life over your animals in your life. Don't matter what. Talk good about you and back it up with the actions that you, because it's just speaking is one action. Then there's physical actions that you must do. So we be careful about how we spend our money. We be careful about where we save our money. We be careful about how we operate and who we talk to. We be careful about who we associate with, not because we're better than. We got a goal and a purpose in mind. They do the same thing, family. They just don't hang out with anybody. All these pedophilish, foolish people make sure they hang out with pedophilish, foolish people. We just got to just do the opposite. I heard it said that way, and it's the truth. If we just do the opposite of massa, we'll be fine. So we're good on 3 meals a day. We don't need to eat that much. We can see you're fattening Tom the turkey, and Tom the turkey in this instance is humans. We're good on that. We don't need to do all that. There's a time that the body, we have to pause and allow our body to heal from the food that we eat. I know we get enamored, right? We fall in love with that food, man, right? Let's see if we can do a little test here. That gravy, right? With that rice and them mashed potatoes, that fried chicken. Yeah, we know. We playing around in the space right now. Cause damn it, we done en masse of playing around. Them baked sugary foods with all that confectioner sugar and some of that crystallized sugar and stuff. Family, if you're getting a little too hungry, stop yourself. You don't need all that. Where's the fruits and the vegetables at? We're being for real. This is how you change in your mind. Me, you, anybody. This is how you change in your mind. Activity in the body. It's time to get active. Family, it's getting warm out in certain places. Some places still cold. Certain places are not, right? Get out under that sun. Hey, we understand the radiation, right? Again, it's interesting. You live under a planet where there's, hanging up in space. This is for people who get in a weird space in their mind, and they cut down the possibilities. You hanging in a ball that's got gas and everything else in it, hanging in space with another celestial body, spatial body, that's providing radiation to the planet you're living on, full of gases, hanging in space. We need to be more aware and cognizant of what's going on. Let's finish out here. Let's finish up.
We would give for Evikan. Yes.
I'm just a bit confused with the Evet Kanani. So why not just make him be given the mitzvah of Ben Noah? Why bring him all the way to mitzvah? His status and his essence. We're giving him. We don't proselytize, but in the day we're almost making him behave in the way.
Yeah. So let me explain something about Evet Kanani that I think sometimes people don't get. Everyone knows this idea.
Let's pause this 1 second. Sorry about the low noise. Someone that's asking a question in the background. They don't have their mic up to their mouth, so you're missing some of what he's saying. He's asking what's going on with all the slavery stuff. How does this work? We forcing people, all that kind of thing. And this is this rabbi's response.
That an Evet Kanani is lavdavit, it means a non-Jewish slave, has the same mitzvos as a woman. Which means actually a shifcha kanainis is identical to a Jewish woman, whatever it would be. Now, what happens when the Evet is freed? When the Evet is freed, the Eved is a full Jew. An Eved Meshuchrar is like a ger at that point. So people raise the question, gee, does that mean that essentially somebody's being forced into being a Jew? Because the slavery state was certainly involuntary. You captured him in war, whatever it is, and that makes him Eved Kanani. And then whenever you decide to free him for whatever reason, he becomes a Jew whether he likes it or not. Nobody asked him. So the emes is, if you look in the Rambam Hilchos Avadim, you actually see a very, very interesting thing. It's not as simple as you would imagine. And that is, when I buy a non-Jewish slave or I take a captive in war, he's my Eved, he's my property, and I can sell him and I can make money, etc. But in order for him to have the halachos of an Eved Kanani, chayav and mitzvos, he has to go to the mikveh and have a bris. And he has to do that voluntarily. I cannot force him to become an Eved Kanani. Now the Rambam says, I have 12 months in which I could try to convince him to go to the mikveh and have a bris. If at the end of the 12 months he...
Do you understand how sick this is, family? You are going to use something that should be for the soul and back it up behind as a foundation to enslave them. We want to put this out here clear as day. Again, as a Christian family, we believe in going to church. We believe in being around people of like faith. That is a societal thing that is necessary, okay? Even more so in the things that people believe, okay? That's the point of joining organizations, joining institutions, joining certain teachers, etc., etc. You don't need to be hearing any old mess, though, right? Just because that's a thing. I'm not to sit under, again, please hear this. Let me be clear. We are not to sit under people who are okay telling us, like Keon Henderson a couple of years ago, that when you give to the poor, that you get nothing back. Y'all can look it up on TikTok. It's probably on TikTok, YouTube. It was popular a couple of years back. You get nothing back when you give to the poor, but again, in the measure that you meet, it will come back to you. So let's end here. Well, we're gonna, because this man is just talking a bunch of, again, you can find it on YouTube. Let's get into Mark chapter 4. Right? Let's get into Mark chapter 4 real quick. Because your boy can only hear so much of this mess before I kind of shut off into mine. It's a training lesson to push yourself to listen. But after a while, man, sheesh, right? This is Mark chapter 4, chapter 1. He began, this is Christ, right? He began to teach by the seaside, and they gathered a great multitude to him. He entered into the ship, sat in the sea, and taught the folks by the sea, right? As they were sitting on the land. He taught them many things by parable and said unto them in his doctrine, listen closely. Now, this is what hearken means, basically. Listen up, check this out, right? So check this out. Somebody's going out to sow some seed in the ground somewhere. Again, the sower went to sow. It came to pass that as he was sowing, again, we understand that it's not just he's down here, there's she's too. So you can say it this way: as they sowed, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls of the air came and devoured it up. Whenever you take care of your grass, family, right? After you've done, hopefully you've done that. Listen, till that thing, go rent you a tiller, right? If everybody got a pickup truck, that's okay running each other off the road instead of using it for working around your house. Or on your job somewhere, you just make sure now you go rent you a garden, a lawn tiller from or aerator, right? From your local retail store, and you make sure that dirt, because it tighten up when it's when it's cold and everything. You got to get that thing loosened up. Right. We could go somewhere else with that, but I'm going to leave it alone. You make sure that you, again, family, we are so greedy. We don't take the time to preheat the oven first and make sure that thing's at temperature. We just want to jump right in and enjoy. You family, it's embarrassing, honestly. Right. So again, get the ground ready. right? You got your in-ground sprinkler system or however you're going to water the ground because it's got to get watered. You put the holes in that thing, right? This is just some old school stuff about taking care of your grass, okay? That your boy learned and that we continue learning, okay? Once you're in the area of that thing, you raking up all that all that dead grass. Listen. You're gonna get a good workout in if you got a house. That's why we say, family, you don't need like 9 acres. Yeah, get you know, like an acre is good, man. Again, because the work you have to put in, you still got to take care of this. Unless you're gonna be paying a bunch of Mexicans that you're gonna call ICE on, family, right? We ain't doing that, right? All right. So at the end of the day, family, you make sure that you get that ground straight. After all that's done and you've raked up all that dead grass that's out of the way, now we start adding in the feed, right? So whether it's reseeding and making sure there's food around all of that, right? Nourishment, we call that fertilizers, right? You make sure all that stuff is there as natural as possible. We understand, okay? Because your kid's gonna be rolling in their grass. You're gonna be rolling in that grass if you play with them, right? Wife gonna be there, sun tanning and bathing, or even you, all of this, family, right? So you want to be healthy with how we treat Mother Earth, okay? Then at the end of that, and you water and everything like that, and then while you're doing that fertilizing part, some of that get on the sidewalk, don't it? And you gotta sweep it up out of the way. You don't want to be, okay. So as the sower's sowing, some of that falls in that spot. The fowls of the air come up, they devour it up. That's what it's like. For some, it's on stony ground. And this is where you got, again, we're talking about that aeration. You got to break up that ground. But if you don't, you try to put that stuff down, it really can't go no far. It ain't got nowhere to go. There's nowhere for it to grow. There's nothing for it to soak into. So again, stony ground, it don't have a lot of earth because it's too hard. Telling you about people, family, the hardness of the heart is what you're watching. That's why black folks can go up in these gas stations with people trying to make money with the very little mass they give them. Again, an inversion and a twisting of what labor is supposed to look like. I guess when they say when you work, you show if you don't work, you shouldn't eat, which would be the reverse. If you work, you should eat. I guess the amount of eat they're giving you is very little, right? And they use all types of scriptures and every other kind of weird imagination to tell you why it's supposed to be like that. At the end of the day, family, that thing is out of balance. And some of this stuff falls on the stony ground where there's not a lot of earth. And although you may get a little growth, it's not going to last because there's no depth of earth. So when the sun comes up, this is verse 6, it's going to burn it up. We just talked about this sun. It's going to burn it up. That's what you see. You got to continue to feed and make sure that thing growing deep in the earth. There are things in this life that can come up, scoop it away real quick. So you got to get real deep on this. That's why we saying, family, sometimes ain't taking time to watch all this stuff. It's the same thing with WWE, if we could pause on that. Number one, as far as AEW wrestling in general, but WWE, AEW, kind of the two right now. Shout out to Chris Jericho coming back. That's a man there that Massa can't control. Him and Vince, they don't listen. He has respect for the businesses as far as a man that has business acumen. But other than that, that's why he don't stay there. He'll come, he'll go, family, that's how it works. That's how we should be. Anyway, on top of that, you have this whole thing, WrestleMania season looking real mid, family. Like we said a couple weeks ago, we're going to see how it goes. We could see this Intercontinental Championship match is probably going to be pretty good. We assume Penta's going to retain. If he loses, we want to see Javon Evans and stuff like that. We tired of seeing some of this other stuff, family, okay? If you're going to use the black image, you might as well put it on right, damn it, right? Anyway, and that's exactly what's going on. This thing with Jade Cargill is just AEW fans. If you talk to the AEW fan, they're going to let you know she is there for using one move and a pump kick. That's it, family. The rest of it's going to look botchy and chopped up. For black folks to fall for the trap that this is just talking about black folks, again, is exactly that. We're falling for the trap. Family, they're okay putting a subpar black event in front of you, trying to make it look legit. We don't want that. We want excellence. There was nothing in the Negro Leagues that was half-ass. There was nothing with the Fab Fives in the NBA or in basketball, I should say, that was half-ass. Ain't none of your brothers and sisters who play football doing, again, and at one point they were held out of the league, that's half-ass. Nobody. Not Jim Brown, none of them. Our native brothers know that we don't do things half-ass. Why would you want that in wrestling? I don't want representation that looks like half-ass wrestling. Again, where is Kalani Jordan at? Where is Jada Parker at? Right? We seen Lola Vice on NXT, you know, being the first Cuban-born women's champion. Shout you out, sis. And in truth, when you're talking about wrestling, the women is putting it on right now. This is no diss to the brothers, but you just got to give credit to where it's due. These women is putting it on right now. This ain't no space of trying to knock down the man. None of that. The women are putting it on right now. Right? So shout out the ladies one time in wrestling. Brothers, we just got some catching up to do. That's all. You know, and it starts with young folks like Javon Evans, which makes sense why Kevin Nash would have the crap to say he had to say. You know, he got a whole lot to say, bro. Keep your words to your other white brothers and sisters, because you're at a spot, and I say this as respectfully as possible, because you're in a spot here where you're playing a certain role that's been given to you, and we see through it, and it's sick to watch. Okay. When it comes to these title matches, like the main men's ones, CM Punk or Roman Reigns winning, a little bit of a tongue twister there. I mean, does it matter? We're redoing Bloodline stuff because creative is horrible. We've seen Brian James, aka Road Dogg, right? He left WWE Creative, and bro, after watching the Unreal documentary, good riddance to you. Okay? The way you play around in the space emotionally with R-Truth, we see it. See, again, family, it's time to stop falling for the hoax. These folks don't love you. If they love you, it's going to look different. When somebody really loves you, they stand there with you. They don't run and hide. That's one of the things here in Bridgerton that I'm watching here. Well, Lady Whistledown was necessary in an environment that's full of gossip. Having somebody feeding them gossip as a one-up on them is ingenious. You know what I'm talking about? No. I know certain people won't look at it that way, but that's what it is. It's ingenious. You're gassing up the environment that's meant to gas up people. Only thing is, you're exposing a lot of stuff. So see, she was exposing the queen, right? This is why the queen wanted to find out who she is, because you're letting the secrets out. And unfortunately, right, some people got caught up in along the way, but we all do, family. This is why when we talk certain things and people get upset at me or, you know, whatever on how we speak, like, listen, nobody is talking down to anybody, family. This is just a game. We all caught up in it. It's just, it's time to play a different one now. Some fell among thorns. That's verse 7. The thorns grew up and choked it out. Again, get yourself around folks that ain't going to choke out that life that's planted in you. As it talks about later on in the Bible in Timothy, the truths that were left there by our elders and ancestors, grandmothers, right? Lois and Eunice, that's what it talks about. That's what Paul's talking to Timothy about. I know we're looking at the Bible for a whole lot of other things, but look at the rest of the stuff that actually has meaning to it too, family. Do both. And then make your decisions from there. And it yielded no fruit. That's what people do in your life. That stuff is there. They're there, but they're thorns, and they choke out the life in you. So you show no proof of the truth that was given to you. Others fell on the good ground. This is how many is this? The wayside's 1, stony ground 2, thorns is 3. 4 different ways this mess happens, family. We're just saying, just going off the script. The verse 8 fell on the good ground and did yield fruit that sprang up and increased. Believe it Once that thing is implanted in your life, family, it don't matter how long, it's going to come back up. Seed time and harvest is a thing that works in this life. Take a minute for that grass to grow, but you stay there and you stay stuck with it. Keep training. Keep learning. Stay around people who keep training and keep learning and share that truth with each other. You ain't got to go up in no church house to learn nothing. You can do that right wherever you're at. Out in the parking lot, in a building, say, don't matter. And brought forth some, that this is how this works now. And unfortunately, we get caught up in this thing, right? This happens with exercise. This happens with everything. You in the gym, you sitting there looking at all these different bodies, brothers and sisters, you're just looking at different bodies. Be concerned about your own. Soak yourself in that consciousness of being concerned about your own. Ain't worried about what another person look, what another girl look like, what another man look like. I could care less. Soak yourself, soak your psyche in that consciousness. Everybody look different and certain body types look similar. Whichever one yours falls into, it is what it is. And you go with it and you be proud of yourself with it, right? Pear-shaped, what all this is. Thick, when we talk about thick, childbearing hips. This was another thing that we saw in Bridgerton as we come here to this close. How could you make fun of the skinny woman and also want a woman, or not make fun? How could you make fun of the bigger woman and also want a woman with childbearing hips? How does that work? Just asking questions. We understand there's some skinny women that have childbearing hips, but family, normally, where is the thick, Lord, man, where is the child, who got the childbearing hips, family? That's not the skinny mini out there, right? Anyway, family, this is where we're going to put a pause again. Some 30, some 60, some 100-fold. Until we get there, we ain't got there yet. Let go of these divisions that they put there to trip us up so that they can benefit off us. Been a minute since your boy talked, so we had to hop on the mic there for a little bit. I went way over what I was supposed to, but again, family, thank y'all for walking this road with me. I love y'all. God bless y'all. We mean no harm by anything we're saying, but we do mean much to expose this mess because it's trash. It is trash, man. It's time to start giving credit to where it's due. We've held down and hurt people long enough. It's time to be better than that. Right. So family, thank you for walking this road with me. I love y'all. God bless y'all. And as always, and until next time, look to find the beauty in a different view.